I remember I was young, but I can still remember
I'm sure.
that he told me it was probably, there was no telling what that they done to the people back there.
Right. Was that in the basement or in the tunnel?
He said it was in the very, well, honey, it was wherever he done the electrical work.
Could have been either way.
But he said that they had to lock the door whenever they went in, and they had to lock it. I mean, there was no people in there, but he said there was chains hanging, and there was gold things like it looked like it could go on people's wrists. But now there was nobody there at that, you know. But he said that he knew that people had been put down there, and that they was.
I'm sure of it.
Yeah, he said that was really true too.
But back in the day, back in the first, when they were building Broughton Hospital, after Dorothy and Dix had gone to Congress and got the money appropriated for the building, the first patient that came to Broughton Hospital, they didn't have it built. Well, it used to be called the Western North Carolina Insane Asylum. And then it was later named the State Hospital in Morganton. And then when Governor Broughton was the governor, they named it Governor Broughton after him. But the first patient at Broughton Hospital was chained to a tree outside on the grounds until they got the hospital built. They had nothing they could do with it.
You wouldn't believe the chains and those things in the basement part down there.
And doing the research, and I did a lot of research here, and I found a lot of information about things that happened at Broughton. They had like a segregation. Okay, first of all, the hospital was divided to the women on this side and men on this side. That's just for general purposes. And the people that were in the basement was the very worst of the worst, and also the way the hospital is built with the wings, you know. The furthest away and the very lowest part was the very worst patients. And as they got better and as they did better, they could move closer in. But they put the worst ones out that far so that the people that were good wouldn't have to hear the screams and everything.
Well, he said that they would have to like make an appointment,
Right.
and he said that well, of course you make appointments, but he said that he figured if they did that, so when they got through, that they could bring the people back down there.
Right. Oh, well.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
But I mean, I believe everything what he said.
Right. Well, there's a lot of history of Broughton, and I'm sure that they had done before the time of medication, electric shock therapy. And in this book, I've also included some bizarre and unusual treatments that they did for mental illness back before. Let me give you an example of one. This comes from the internet. I had to do some research. But in the late 1800s, physicians used what they called a tranquilizer chair. And they would strap this person into a strong wooden chair and immobilize them so that they, couldn't move any limb. And then they would cover their head with a hood and douse them into icy cold water. This method was supposed to shock the patient, the insane patient, back into insanity. And also, they would put them in a coffin-like box with holes in it and lower it into water by means of a well sweep. I'm not sure what that is. But it said the patient would be kept there until bubbles of air, no one would rose to the top of the water, and then the patient would be taken out of the water, rubbed down with alcohol, and revived. It was thought that this method of treatment would induce the patient to reevaluate his or her life and straighten up. And also, of course, they use the wrist and ankle restraints to subdue patients, as well as the use of straitjackets. Other early methods of calming patients included the use of hydrotherapy, running cool water over the patient's wrists and ankles to reduce the metabolic rate, and twirling chairs. And we put them in a chair and would twirl until, let me just read it to you because I didn't make this, I didn't know this. These chairs were strong wooden chairs that a patient was strapped into and spun into rapid circles in order to separate the humors of the brain. It was reported that the patient was spun up to 100 times a minute, leading to the gushing of blood from their ears and nose and even unconscious. Now, I'm not saying this was done at Broughton, but this is part of it. Yes, sir.
Do they still do electroshock therapy and robotics?
Well, they, not at Broughton Hospital, they don't do the electroshock therapy there. But they do take patients, I believe it's to Hickory, for Atomic Memorial, it's called ECT therapy, and that is electrical shock. But it's very well mediated, okay? They have the monitors and everything. It's not like as what it used to be, but they do still have some of that therapy. It's called electroconvulsive therapy. Yes, ma'am.
I know there's a lot of different forms of mental illness, but it's dropped kind of a section originally. Or they said something else.
Well, traditionally, Dorothea Dix has been the one at the hospital where most of the forensic patients, the criminally mentally ill, like I said. But we do have some of those patients there. I'm working at Cherry Hospital now, and we do have some of those patients there. Because, for one thing, Dorothea Dix Hospital has closed, and they're sending out their patients to different places as well as their employees are being relocated. So, yes, we do have some of those criminally mentally ill patients, and they're sometimes with a mix of the other patients. We just know about it, but we don't. Well, sometimes those patients have been in the system for a while. They're no longer a danger as like they were before they had medication. But you should always consider a patient that's criminally mentally ill dangerous. I mean, in that type of job, we watch out for everything anyway, when you're working on the day shift. Night shift is a little bit different because usually most of those people are resting, and of course you don't have to deal with some of that, but it's always one of those things that happens because of lack of place to keep these people. It's jail or the hospital, so it just depends. Did I answer your question well enough? I hope so, because I deal with these things, but I don't. You just accept it as a fact.
Well, I just wondered if they were going to get their presentation or building then, or if they were brought in to separate.
Well, the only thing I can tell you is yes, we do have them. So, I don't know how bad they would have to be to keep them out of that. What was that movie with the guy? Howard. No, we don't have anybody like that. But I appreciate y'all coming here. Is there any more questions? Oh, that's all right. Go ahead.
Have there ever been any reports of shadows moving around in the room of somebody who's about to die?
Actually, I've heard all kinds of reports of shadows, the first one thing and the other. And I went to soldier around this lady that was about to die, and they actually saw, the image of what they thought was an angel. There was a light about this image of this thing. But yes, people report shadows. In fact, shadows is something that we see more clearly than anything else. Shadow out the corner of your eye, shadow moving, from one area to the other. I can probably tell you this story better than I can read it. But I knew a nurse, she was on this floor one night, and with CNA, she'd gone down to the day room and was checking on him, talking to him. And while she was talking to him, she saw a shadow of something that came in the hall. And this is a true story. And she kept looking while she was talking to him, and he said, "You see it too, don't you?" And she's like, "What?" She tried to pretend like she didn't see it. He said, "You see it, don't you?" And she said, "Yes, I see something in there." He said, "It's a man playing solitaire." And she looked again at the end of the hall, and yes, this man, the shadow person, was laying out cards like he would play solitaire. And she said they watched it for a couple of seconds because it wasn't a very long period of time.
I've got a friend who her sister works in a rest home up in Ashe County, and she says it always happens. She says when somebody's about to die, you always see the shadow move around.
Yes, I believe that. I mean, I do. I don't know how to explain it, but I believe it. There are a lot of spirits, and a lot of people have gone through these walls. A lot of people. There's been good things happen